So this is the first meeting, and what I see us doing here is building ideas and getting some fluency in what the other group perceives as experimentation. In the next meeting, I'm hoping that we'll continue to build ideas, but we'll be beginning to design some possible avenues of how we work together. And so what that might mean, what that might look like, is something like, what does it look like to implement an experiment where, say, dancers are the movers and the subject, and a scientist might be able to A, design an experiment that answers some of their questions, and B, potentially play the role of the choreographer. How would you manipulate these well-trained movers to fulfill a question, to pursue an answer to a question? And in the third meeting, I'm interested in kind of flipping things a little bit, and I'm going to, we'll work on this in the second meeting, but I'm interested in videoing the scientists moving in a way, building a phrase of movement that in some way describes a research result. But when we video you, I want you to know that we'll be using a technique called differencing. I believe we will make you incredibly graceful in your simple actions. You guys are going to do a scientific experiment using the dancers to manipulating these dancers to see if you can test for the capacity for humans to respond or detect an approach from behind.
And we're serious about that.
We're serious about that.
I want to look at the effect of timing of the start of the predator, the pace of the predator.
So you're asking, how does the timing of the start affect the detection by the prey of the predator?
You get attacked every time, but you don't know when the attack is going to start.
I would first ask, what's the frequency by which the prey can detect a predator without seeing or hearing them? And then what are the mechanisms?
Okay, trial begins.
Gail asked me to clarify what I meant by moving sculpture into existence. That happens in the later stages by abrading away the rock, by holding usually diamond sandpaper in my hands and wearing away the surface of the stone. So I began by raising the rock up on my turntable to a higher level, and then starting to sand a concave surface. There's water dripping, mud flowing off, and I do that for days and days and days on end.
Build it maybe to two, and then maybe all of them could be, by the end, we could create one like a cluster of dancers that forms one organism.
Well, yeah,
With that
at
material.
some point, I started seeing 3 organisms out there. There were the 2 individuals. And then as a partnership, they were also developing.
Yeah.
I think another thing worth just putting out here, not necessarily incorporating, is that real prey are not just standing there waiting to be attacked or not. And they don't have the luxury of standing there being scared about being attacked, because they're either eating, mating, sleeping, or moving from one place to another.
Wouldn't it be fun to have a radio-controlled dancer? You could put little electrodes on their body, just little buzzers, that would tell them how fast to go and in what direction. And then an experimenter, perhaps someone in the audience, would be able to control their movements and see how it affected the other dancers.